It's the beginning of the weekend. My name is Mariah Afolabi Brown. Welcome to today's show. It's Friday, and I have with me the ladies of Your View. Hi, Nyma. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Akasha Zibari. How was this week?
Beautiful. Thank God.
Plans for the weekend?
Even though it was this week I had that traffic robbery.
Yes.
I'm grateful to God. I've decided not to go through that route. Maybe when I'm done dealing with finding closure on that particular one, I would then have the courage to pass there again.
Well, interesting. You know, I was in your area this weekend. So I went through Badagry. And we passed one road, I think it's Dimu or something, the back road all the way. We busted out somewhere, we left up all the lasso traffic and all that. It was pretty interesting. I was like really surprised that it was a smooth road all the way there.
It's been the alternative for all government officials going to Badagry.
Oh.
So regular people can go that way?
Yes, so I have to then go to my mother's place. From my own end, I have to pass through that bad side.
Oh, really?
Yes, so I have to first go there, then first pass. It's my neighborhood, so I know.
Oh.
But for that Yanoba road, they need to finish construction. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Turning at Vokes is 6 lanes combining. So those of us coming from the barracks trying to turn, you can imagine all of you meeting at a point. The traffic
I know there's work ongoing at the Badagry Road. I know there's work, but it's just that
there's a bridge that they're constructing now.
Right.
They need to do it well, but they need to organize traffic while they're working.
Yeah, it was interesting, right? How are you doing, Maria?
I'm doing fine. Plans for the weekend is just having, my son, we're working towards common entrance exams and things like that. Man, it's overwhelming for me. For all the people that say, oh, I'm a multitasker and what, how do you do it without really focusing on one thing?
Wow.
For me, I don't always find multitasking to be a good thing.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to just have 1 or 2 things that I'm doing and then do it well.
I just tell people, say, don't throw that thing. Oh, you're a woman, you're multitasking. I'm like, no, don't push that on me. It's like, I like to do things one at a time.
Yes.
Not all of us can do
So I have a plan,
together.
I start it, I finish it. I don't want to be in between. I've done half of this and then I'm...
Not even when especially not when it concerns your children. All those multitasking things.
So I was over, as I said, this week, the last 2 days I was off the show.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to hang out with the Commissioner for Education, and we went to Badagry, and I mean, it was really interesting. It was my first time. It's embarrassing to say. First time in that region. We drove past the slave trade zone, and we visited quite a few places there. It was interesting to just see the community. Went to buy fish, crayfish. Did
you get for us?
I think I did.
I hope you did.
I did.
You said you think. I look at you, I'm looking at her.
But yeah, it was fun.
You should have even gotten us coconut oil.
But shout out to one of the principals, the head teachers of Badagry Grammar School. I mean, he was quite impressive. This is a person that he brought TV screens, smart TVs for his classrooms. And it was pretty interesting. I went there, the fields were clean. It was pretty nice to see a head teacher of a public school who's taking responsibility. All the children actually had on the face mask.
The ex-students of Badagry Grammar should contact you.
Yes.
Badagry Grammar used to be a big school. We used to struggle to get common entrance to enter.
Okay.
Oh, really?
To say you finished from Badagry Grounds was the big deal.
So it was actually a good school. Oh, interesting. It's good to know. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
We're going to start with the nation. PDP crisis. Elders fail to halt Uche Seconda's removal plot. World Bank's $50 million for water projects in Delta, Ekiti, and 5 others. Oyo to repatriate beggars. Cocoyam, new trends good to combat COVID-19. I like that story. Lagos Assembly cuts ex-governor's pension by 50%. Oyetola promises action on #NSAS panel report. Bandits attack 10 councils in my state's daily, says Masari. Let me take the Cocoyam story. So, the DG of the Raw Materials Research Fund Development Council, his name is Professor Hussaini Ibrahim, listed the nutritional context in cocoyam, says that we have actually relegated it, and this is one product that produce that is very good to strengthen our immune system. And since because COVID-19 is a virus that weakens the immune system, that when you take cocoyam, it helps to strengthen it such that you can actually combat COVID-19 and say, very
Really?
interesting. It's good to know that we are actually looking at different things.
Yes,
But so he's encouraging us to eat more and consume more cocoyam. It's better than yam and potatoes.
For those staying off sugar, for those diabetic patients who stay on it, you sort of see an improvement.
Yeah, he said so.
Yes, it's a rich.
He even mentioned
But
diabetes.
it's high in carbs, isn't it? But one thing is, I haven't seen cocoyam in my whole adult life. As a child, I used to see a lot of it, but I know that I have not set my eyes.
I've not done well going to
I
farmers
have not set my eyes.
The next
But
farmers market,
I never liked it as a child, so, but I don't think I've ever seen it anywhere.
Oh, is it those bald, the small ones,
Yes,
those black ones?
yes,
Yeah.
but as an adult, I haven't seen them.
No, it's very
So I
available.
only know they put it in stew to thicken it as a thickener. I don't know you actually eat it.
So isn't that a different type?
No. It's a
You
one
can
you put
eat
in
it,
soup for
yes.
thickener.
Yes,
Right?
but that's a different type. But there's one that, I mean, of course,
really?
growing up in Jos, you see the big ones, but I haven't seen those ones in a
Really?
long time. Yeah.
Any other story in Nation?
No.
50% slash, you want to take it here?
No, take
Let's move on to the Punch. Relief for secondus as PDP BOT tackles Wike and rejects interim exco. Oro Festival, 5 Ogun traditionalists remanded for clash with Muslims. FG Holland floats model Ruger hub in Nasarawa and Wu states. Army arrests fake masked policemen with 50 bags of Indian hemp in Ondo. Abducted Basi students, parents battle to raise fresh 300,000 naira levy. Lagos gets 600,000 Moderna vaccine doses. Crossfire gets over 100,000. NLC demands electricity tariff reduction and agreement implementation by December. And 57 prospective couples test positive for COVID-19 in Ogun. Okay, Marian, let's take the picture story.
Okay.
Go.
I wanted to start with the abducted students,
go
Bethel
ahead.
students. So we know that many of them are still with the abductors, and so the parents have all decided to levy themselves 300,000 each to put together, since the abductors have increased their ransom to 80 million right now. From the spokesperson for the schools, they said they do not have any exact date when these children will be let go, and they're putting everything in God's hands, because it is determined, the release of the students will be determined by the abductors. Really sad story. So they said they have over 60% of the students are still being held by the bandits. We hope that, you know, they're able to put these monies together and they may get released. I don't even know. They've also kept the schools shut because, you know, for security reasons, and also so that they can, in empathy and sympathy with parents who still have their children, you know, abducted.
Right. You're going to take one more story
Okay,
there?
then the picture story, we have 2 people who the NDLEA arrested. They pretended to be police officers. They were wearing police pullovers. They said they had changed the license plates of their cars to a fake police number. And they had over 50 bags of cannabis sativa that they were taking from Ondo to Abuja.
Wow.
Luckily, they were caught and arrested. So you can see how many fake people would, and they will get away a lot of things because people will just look at them, or security operatives will just cite them and think that they are real police officers.
Okay, let's take the Oro story.
Yes, I do. Yeah. A magistrate court in Ogun State has remanded about 5 Ogun traditionalists over Oro clashes. So the Oro worshippers had issued their notice to carry out their activities, which usually happens in the evening. And they went into a mosque that was having their evening prayers, saying they contravened that order that they had given, and attacked the worshippers. And they macheted one of the worshippers to a point of serious injury. And the Muslim worshippers were able to apprehend some of them. They handed them over to the police, and the courts have given them bail, but they could not meet their bail terms, so they continue to be remanded in police custody. This is a case in study for Osun on how to deal with criminality like this in the name of worship. So once a person is attacked, grievous bodily harm is done to a person, the human thing is for you to ensure that justice is done, so we don't have continuous religious clashes in your community. But thankfully, we did the right thing. But I have the Ruga story.
Oh, okay.
So the federal government partnered the Netherlands on livestock, a livestock hub in Nasarawa State on about 22,000 hectares of land. And what they're trying to ensure is that, we don't have herders carry pastoral, nomadic pastoral lifestyle continuing. So this is supposed to help stem the herders-farmers clashes and ensure that people do farming the way it should be done by ranching. The Netherlands said the president had signed an undertaking an MOU with them when he visited Netherlands and saw how they did ranching. And so this has ensured that their partnership works with
All right, I was going to take the 57 couples, prospective couples, test positive for COVID-19. So what happened was that they were actually not yet couples. They were being screened. So it was in Ogun State and I think Plateau. And what happened was that the 35 of them that tested positive for COVID-19. And there was a huge, I mean, according to the reports, it wasn't an easy thing to get into the NYSC camps without doing the proper screening. And the Ogun State actually complained that they've had an increase, says that July had a sharp rise of 96 cases with positivity rates of 7.4%. And the first 3 days in August have also been a rise in increased cases of COVID-19. So these are real numbers. The death rate, however, has remained relatively static at 50 till July 15. That's in Ogun State. And then we're moving on to Plateau State now. And since that 22 prospective corps members were also tested positive at the orientation camp. So I'm happy that they didn't go into the actual camp. It was just before. So your families shouldn't be worried about their children getting COVID-19 because these people actually didn't get into the camps.
Okay. Let me just add to that since we're taking the COVID story. Yeah. So meanwhile, the World Health Organization has donated 26 ventilators and 3,560 fingertip oxygen pulse to Nigeria for the management of patients in isolation centers, and treatment facilities.
Great. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Right, so we're going to move on to the Nigerian Tribune. Things getting worse in Nigeria, Sultan says. Bandits kidnap Zamfara speaker's father, stepmother, and 4 others. Strike, FG not reneging on its promises, paid over 150 million naira insurance to 46 resident doctors. Supreme Court verdict endorses Benin leadership, says APC governors. Lagos Assembly stops houses for ex-governors, reduces pension by 50%. And Labour rejects FG's reduction of the domestic gas prices for electricity generation to $2.18. Major headline. Who has that story?
I have it. So the Sultan of Sokoto was at the 3rd National Summit for Peaceful Coexistence and Nation Building, which was themed the Peaceful Coexistence, Social Cohesion and National Building, organized by Dawa Coordination Council of Nigeria in Gombe State. And at that summit, he was talking about how Nigerians have been deceiving ourselves that the situation is getting better on insecurity, but it is not. That people are hungry, insecurity is causing, hunger is worsening insecurity in the country. Farmers are being pushed out of their farms, and we continue to disguise that we must be deliberate about existing peacefully and allowing other people to exist. Right. At that same conference, Onayeka, the Cardinal Onayeka was at that conference. He also echoed what the Sultan said, and he said he regretted that suspicion, religious bigotry, and sentiments seem to be the order of the day, and called on the need for Nigerians to stay together in peace and coexist side by side in mutual respect.
Right. Okay, let's take another story.
Yeah, so in Zamfara, another kidnapping happened. The father of the Speaker of the State's House of Assembly was abducted. His stepmom was abducted, 4 others as well. And they came into this particular village, Magaria town, at about 4 p.m. And eyewitnesses say that that was even after they had invaded 2 other villages, and then they ended up there. So this is our story right now. I was just saying to Nyma that it looks like we're just going to take one day and just read all these kidnapping, banditry stories. Every day we have things like this.
Moving on now to Vanguard. Crisis, stakeholders rally to save PDP and APC. Lagos Assembly slashes pension of former governors by 50%. Twitter suspension in Nigeria, worrisome. Media must remain vigilant, says United States. Suspected arms sale to Nigeria, arms sales to Nigeria. Akinto Enwodo, Turaki, others tell US and EU. Mob storms police station as robbers raid banks, kill 1 in Oshun. And states responsible for most of your demands, FG tells striking doctors. Lots of stories here. So let's start with the Lagos State government here.
People that thought the governor was making empty promises in November when he proposed that, you know, the pensions of ex-governors be slashed. Here it is. The House of Assembly has approved the report of its Committee on Establishment, which recommended 50% slash of the pensions of ex-governors and expunged the provisions of houses in Abuja, houses in Lagos, and all the cars, and only approved a car and a van now for ex-governors and their deputies, and also renewable from the initial renewal period of 3 years to 4 years renewal period. Okay. And that was the proposal of the Speaker, though. But according to the Speaker and the Governor, these were the loudest of the agitations of the NSAS, and the Lagos Assembly has again
ratified it.
Led, set the pace for other states.
So that's Lagos as a rich state, too.
Yes,
now. Shouldn't go further down.
Exactly, by listening to the clamor from the people.
Let's take another story.
Yeah, so the mob stormed the police station in Osogbo in Osun State after armed robbers had come into their community and robbed 2 banks. The residents were upset that because when the armed robbers came, the police men ran away. But eyewitnesses were saying that first, when the armed robbers came in, they attacked the police station, shot a young man that, you know, he's unidentified as of the time of this report. And so, of course, the policemen scattered. Then they went into the bank and they operated for about 15 minutes, came out shooting sporadically, got into 2 standby vehicles and left, like a movie. In broad daylight, they did this. So people are, you know, angry. The police command has confirmed the incident and said, yes, 1 person has been killed. And we just hope, you know, we find out who these people are. All
right, so I have 2 stories there in Vanguard. One from the Consul General of the United States to Nigeria was saying that she's deeply worried by the suspension of Twitter by Nigeria federal government. According to her, she said the government's intention to introduce registration requirements for social media platforms banning or restricting social media with threats of persecution undermined human rights, fundamental freedom of Nigerians. So she's echoing the fact that Twitter shouldn't have been banned, and that entire action undermines the human rights of Nigerians to associate with whatever they want to. And she said banning of significantly restricting social media, including other threats, is something that we should actually review, according to her. Another story that caught my attention, actually, was this new group. I don't know if you heard about it, but they are called the National Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, made up of the South, Middle Belt, the Odua Congress, the Ohanes Ndigbo, the whole group of them. They formed a group called NINAS. Now, what they've done is they told the United States, Britain, France, Russia, Germany, and others that they should impose heavy sanctions on Nigeria, the federal government undermining democracy and continuously abusing human rights. And they've also told them to stop selling arms to Nigeria, saying that most of the arms they sell to Nigeria ends up in the hands of the bandits. So they cannot trust the Nigerian government. So they're saying that they should stop selling arms or even supporting the federal government in the war against terror. Okay, moving on now to Daily Sun. PDP governors orders to decide Secondar's fate in 72 hours. I observed you guys did not take any political stories. You're not interested, Abi? No. Ohaneze talks tough over headsmen's killings. Let's find a story we've not taken. Government threatens sack of striking doctors. FG vows to equip, train, motivate military to protect the nation. Akintoye Nwodo others writes US EU to stop selling arms to Nigeria. APGA crisis, Umes committee begs Omeoji to sheath his sword. Okay,
yeah,
any
so
story?
I have the federal government threatens to outrightly sack or terminate the employment of striking doctors. And they're saying that they have, the federal government is saying that it would leverage on a court judgment and to take out these administrative actions against doctors who fail to return to work because, as far as they are concerned, they have been in talks with resident doctors and given their 12-point demand, they're able to sit down with them and resolve, I think they said 1 to 5, which falls under the purview of the federal government. It says everything from number 6 to number 12 falls within the purview of the state government. That we should also remember that health is on the residual legislative list. And so there are some things that the state government is in charge of, like also the employer-employee relationship. That's the state government. And so they feel that the resident doctors are being mischievous, knowing that they are committed to meeting the demands that falls within their purview. The rest needs to be discussed with the state government. They also said that they have paid 9.3 billion so far to companies for their group life insurance, and they are working on so many other checks before them, and this takes some time.
So when we say government meets us halfway, they're saying they met them halfway.
Yes.
They also need to...
Yes, they said that they're being used by enemies to cause instability in the country.
Moving on quickly now to the news direct. Let's just take only the major headline. NCS border security, uncertainty over supply of $18.12 million cargo scanners for seaports. Nyma, you have that story.
So, according to the News Direct reporter, a year after the federal government executive council approved $18.12 million for scanners for Port Harcourt, Tinkan Island Port, and on a port to fast track the purchases of these scanners. They cannot see the scanners in any of these port areas. According to them, the contract was given to a Messrs. Airwave Limited, and according to the Minister of Finance, the first tranche of the money approval of money was for the revision of a contract that was previously approved in 2018 under former predecessor for the supply and installation of 3 mobile cargo scanners to be installed in One, Port Harcourt, and Tinkan Island ports. But if you go to the ports in question, according to the reporter, you cannot see sign of any of these things, and there's no improvement.
Okay, as we wrap up, let's just take Daily Trust. There was a story you took there. 8 die as flood destroys 57 village in Bauchi. You have that story?
Yes, I have it. Let me just quickly get to it.
Let me find that.
The 8 persons were caught in flood areas in Bauchi, in 11 local government areas in Bauchi, and this was due to heavy downpour that happened in the villages. And according to this, windstorm and flood also destroyed about 57 villages, displaced 567 people. The state coordinator for their state emergency, Mr. Abubakar Umar, gave this report and also advised people to try not to move when the flood is happening, or think they can swim out of such heavy floods. That this is why or how they lost so many lives. They also advise people living in flood-prone areas to try and relocate during this period.
Even on TV, I was seeing that Jalingo in Taraba State was also flooded.
Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, we invite our guest from Lush Hair. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we know Lush Hair showcases beautiful talents. We have with us in the studio a contestant on the Nigerian Idol Season 6, Clinton Francis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
So Clinton, we know you're from Imo State. We know that you started singing since you were a little child. But tell us, how did you find out about Nigerian Idol and how did you participate?
All right. I think I saw a friend of mine. He actually registered for it, and he sent me the pictures. He just sent me and told me, Clinton, go for this stuff. And initially, I didn't want to go because I was tired of all these competitions and all of that. I was like, do I really have the time? And I was in the music team then. Yeah. So after much persuasion and my friends, my family members inquire, they were like, Clinton, try this out. And I was like, okay. I think I registered on the last day of the registration.
Wow.
Yeah. I sent my 30 seconds video for audition, and that was how everything started.
Yeah.
So what was the song that you sang? Was it a song you had to sing for your audition, or was it something you had to sing?
The 30 seconds is just a song. I did Someone Like You by Adele.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, I beg, among those 3 judges, who was the most intimidating? Whose eye contact you didn't want to keep?
DJ Susi, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He just has this kind of stare, like.
That intimidates you, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether he likes it or he doesn't, right?
And in a situation where you're singing and he's not really smiling, you're like, I'm singing it right, or that kind of thing, and he's just looking at you like.
But did you think you impressed him at the end?
Yeah, he said that. He said that he was wild and.
So I know that Lush sponsor was part of the sponsors for the show.
Yeah.
So was that what were the Lush elements in the show that you thought was interesting?
We had a hair salon, like.
Oh, really? They had a salon there?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was all pink.
All pink.
It was beautiful.
He said all pink, like, oh my God. All pink.
It was beautiful too.
Yeah, it was beautiful, yeah.
Okay.
And we had this
Nice.
360 Lush stuff. So it was just
So when
fabulous.
you're done,
Fabulous.
you sit there and the 360 camera takes you around, or what?
Yes, you just see, and the camera just.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was actually that was my first time having that 360 camera experience. Yeah.
Oh,
So who would you say was the like most fabulous person?
It's
on
definitely
the set?
the queen herself, Akuna.
Last standing guy.
Yeah,
Nice.
Akuna. She has, you know, she's
think so
she has this package, and
Hey, she has this package.
yeah,
Please
and-
explain the
Sounds like you are secretly admiring her. Please let us tell
He's
us.
talking about the
Wait,
Lush
I didn't ask
No,
you a question.
no,
I
he's
promise you I'm asking
explaining
questions.
package.
Auntie, uncle, it was
It's
well
your view.
packaged.
Let
Tell
us
us,
see.
what did you like packaged about her?
I just like her charisma, her personality. She's just this blunt person, and you know she's a lawyer, and
Yeah.
she's just
So you like
amazing.
blunt people? Say, you like this is your 5 seconds to tell us what you
market
like.
yourself.
Let us know the kind of women you like.
No, actually,
women that like
I actually liked her in the house, and she's just amazing.
Aww.
Yeah.
Did you guys hit it off nicely?
We are friends, actually. We're
Aww.
friends. Yeah.
How nice.
Okay.
I can't marry you anyway, tell him.
The competition has since ended. Let's know.
Yeah.
What else are you doing? What's life like after?
Okay.
Is there any other thing besides music that
Yeah,
you're doing?
I'm actually working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm working in an office as an international administrator.
Oh, so you actually have a proper 9-to-5 job.
Yes.
Oh, so they allowed you to go for the
Yeah,
competition?
they allowed
oh,
me. I had to leave the office for over 4 months, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. That was so gracious
Very
of them.
nice office.
Right, so you do that work and then you do the music on the side?
Yeah, but actually now music is professional for me because it has
Ah.
always been my #1 thing. So I think I'm going to really, thank God the work actually gives me time to
Good.
explore.
Good.
Yeah,
Music.
so
Fantastic, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so you were saying to us, you know, when you got into the house, you had like some challenges. What were the challenges that you had to overcome and then find yourself fully
Actually,
participating?
before I even auditioned, okay, when I did send my 30-second video, I told the head of our team, the music team, that it's actually a gospel team. So I told them that I actually got selected to actually audition physically for the show, and they were like, "You're out of the team," just like that. I was heartbroken. I was like, "Why?" It's a popular team, and
Oh, really?
yeah.
And they're not taking you back now?
Nah, they asked me to leave, and I was like, "Why?" Just like that. I apologized. I actually made up my mind not to go for it anymore, just to see if I can still stay back.
Right.
But all my pleading and everything didn't get any attention and all of
Oh,
that.
that's
so
so sorry about
I
that.
just had to continue. I auditioned and got my golden ticket, and
Well, when life throws you lemons, what you do? You make lemonade. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be a good story out of this at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
yeah, there is actually, yeah.
So you're looking to start your own team?
Yes. I'm actually planning on starting my team in Port Harcourt because I actually have lots of fan base in Port Harcourt.
Port Harcourt. Oh,
yeah,
you're a
I'm
Port Harcourt
starting.
boy.
Yeah, I was born and raised
Oh,
there.
nice.
So I'm planning on having my team in Port Harcourt
Right.
and also here in Lagos, to
Oh,
expand,
fantastic.
to make it easier
Oh,
for.
great. So
Yeah.
are there any people you'd like to collaborate with in future?
Yeah, because I'm a gospel artist, I would like to work with Mercy Chinwo.
Mercy Chinwe. Why you think that's how just they
No.
like women like this, child? Mercy Chinwe.
Yeah, and
Okay.
and one person I would really want to
Yeah.
have in a song with me is Judy K. I just love her.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we connect musically. I think her kind of
Nice.
music connects to me like deep down.
Oh, lovely.
You know, you
lovely.
sound so cute and so nice
Yeah.
and I'm
He's
just
like a
wondering-
romantic guy.
Yeah,
Come
what
on, big
sort of,
flowers,
yeah. So
deal.
I'm wondering if you could just sing 1 or 2 lines for us in this sweet, cozy, nice,
Yeah.
romantic voice.
Just-
Okay, there's this song I sing every morning.
Okay.
It's a gospel song actually.
It's
So,
All right.
yeah, I sing it every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Great is your faithfulness. Morning by morning, Your mercies I see. All that I have needed, your hands have provided. Great is your faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Oh my
so
God,
sweet.
that entered my soul.
Yes,
All right, so we have to, before we let you go, we have to play this Lush game.
All right.
It says that you have to play, give us 5 Lush hair products that you know.
Wow.
You say, wow, you better know it.
Well, based on the fact that I actually saw lots of the girls in the house,
Yeah.
they did so many things, and you know, we usually mingle. And
Okay.
I think I can remember Akuna had
Okay.
this Nini Fro.
Okay.
For the
That
full,
food,
Yeah.
that's what I
Okay.
like on
the
that.
full stuff, yeah. And I think they did lots of braids. That's they have wild braids and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's ready braids too.
Nice.
Yeah. There is oh Lord.
Oh, Lord, it's okay. I mean, I'm sure you
I
can.
think I want to mention this the lock
The dreadlock.
the dreadlock here. It's called something.
When you try,
Okay, well, it's okay. You try. I think it's
Three over
So
five.
but out of curiosity,
Thought I'll get 5 over 5.
Yeah.
I tried already.
you tried. You tried.
You did good.
Out of curiosity, do you remember any guys in the house at all? Because you seem to only remember the ladies.
Yeah.
What
Like
the names?
the winner is actually my friend Kingdom. Like,
Oh.
yeah, Kingdom, Daniel, Francis.
Ah,
I
just
can
checking.
mention a lot of
Just
them.
checking that.
finish out the list, man.
Just checking that.
Like, you also like.
But it was such a pleasure having you on the show. We wish you the best. And the moment you start your group, let us know. We'd like to have you on. You know, just to check,
I'm
see,
actually
support you.
working on my EP currently, and
Okay.
yeah.
What's EP?
I think
Sorry.
Extended play.
Oh, extended play.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
it's
like a mini album. Kind
Oh,
of.
nice. Well done. Congratulations.
Married to a musician.
Thank you very much for joining us. And
thank you so much.
thanks again to Lush Hair for always sending us great acts. This was from season 6 of the Nigerian Idol. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, we continue with our next guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. If you recall, last weekend, our president had said something about education back at the Global International Education Summit that went viral. And people raised issues concerning the fact that the president does know the issues we have in education. And during the week on Monday, the ladies of you discussed it, and we talked about the fact that we know the problems in education. So therefore, what are the solutions? Well, joining us today is the Honorable Commissioner for Education in Lagos State, Folashade Adefisaya. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you for having me here.
Good to have you. So on Monday specifically, the ladies discussed the fact that we've identified infrastructure, curriculum, issues with teacher apathy, learning not taking place in school. We see the issues. We don't want to talk about the issues. We want to know exactly what you and your government are doing concerning, I'll start with curriculum, for example, because there's a perception out there that the Nigerian curriculum is outdated, should be overhauled, and that it's not relevant for this 21st century. Could you give us an idea of what's going on? Is that true, first of all, and what's been done to the curriculum?
Well, to some extent, it is true. I as a practitioner, have always believed that the curriculum, we can really address the curriculum. We can modernize it and make it fit for purpose. What I find is we are turning out children who I think are not fit for the world they are going to live in. And therefore, we should integrate that curriculum with a lot more skills and less content. It's very content-driven. There's a lot of stuff in it, you know. And it makes you wonder, like, I can digress and talk about when I studied the Nigerian curriculum, a single subject, and I studied the British equivalent. And I found that the Nigerian curriculum for biology, for example, assumes you want to be a doctor or a pharmacist or a PhD in biology. The equivalent, the British one, assumes that as a human being, you need to know about the natural world. And so, therefore, it is not as deep in its content, but its assessment methods are more interesting, and therefore you learn better because it focuses more on skills. Like when you draw the eye and you say label, what does that, I mean, what is that? But this one would say, these are 3 eyes, what's wrong with them? If you cannot label, you can never, you can't answer that question.
Yeah.
So it requires you to use skills that you've acquired and not just the content, you know, just regurgitating, cram and pour, cram and pour. So I think it's a lot of things. There's a lot of content, and the way we assess that learning has taken place is inadequate, and there's less focus on integrating with skills. That's a reality. But since we are solutions-driven, right? You want me to go to solutions?
Yes, please.
Since we are looking at solutions, I think 2 important and interesting things are happening. The NERDC, I can't speak for them. That's the national body that is in charge of our curriculum. They've been going around the country now. They want to update the curriculum. And what I find most interesting is they're talking to stakeholders. When they came to Lagos, we actually had students in the classroom, at the session. And you had these children from public schools in the neighborhood. And one of them said something quite profound. He said, others are talking about coding, app development. We are talking about typewriters. So I think they are listening. And so we're hoping the next iteration will be a modernized curriculum. But for us in Lagos State, what we've done is this curriculum is our curriculum. I'm a Nigerian. I believe we should teach our children about Nigeria. I don't want children to not to have a sense of their Nigerianness. So it's important to me that, yes, we do implement the Nigerian curriculum. But I always have thought that we need to implement it as it should be.
Yeah.
So there's a part of curriculum that I've always wondered. So when we were in school, our curriculum were not you didn't have any form of emotional intelligence involved in any of our curriculum. The way they addressed peer pressure, cultism, and all of those things then in school was simply tell us bad, wrong, and, you know, remember your parents, remember your family name, and those things. It worked for us. It's no longer relevant today. It doesn't work anymore. People don't remember who, you know, people just do things. Is there a possibility of finding a way to put this in our curriculum such that children own themselves, you know, and you can deal with any of these vices that are attractive, so-called, in society?
Oh, that's a beautiful question, and thank you for asking. You don't need to include every topic. Yes, you can talk to them about what emotional intelligence is, but it's the practice of it that matters, isn't it? Yes. And not knowledge, just mere, I know what it is. So I think, as an educator, I think the best way to do these things is to integrate into practice, is to make it experiential. Yes. The way a school conducts a lot of its activities, the way you conduct simple things like assembly. Like, I find we preach too much at young children, and they won't listen to somebody like me. So if you want to preach, maybe the young chap who was down singing before me would be a more interesting person for them. But what you do is you manage all the activities in the school such that children are learning every step. You can learn from every situation. You can learn from what is written on the walls. You can learn from the culture of the school, what the school refuses to accept, what it has zero tolerance for, what the school celebrates, how seniors treat juniors, how teachers teach students. Right. Oh, these are all the things that I think you do to teach a lot of these. And so when you said you were not learning, you were, because your teachers too were role modeling.
Yes, they were.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, so I will take us to infrastructural improvement.
I didn't want to go to infrastructure yet. Let me
still
curriculum for 1 minute. I'll come to you to infrastructure. The issue of curriculum, one of my fears is the fact that some certain states want to go at a certain pace. So other parts of the country may not be at that same pace. So how do you customize your curriculum to meet the needs of your own children in your own region or state? I'm trying to say it in a very nice way, because there are some states that are focused on maybe IT, and some states are not. I don't want to make it a state thing, but how do we customize the curriculum to be fit for purpose for your own children in Lagos State?
Great. Well, that's why I was saying that what we've looked at is that we've said that this curriculum is like a bare minimum, and we need to work on it. So we've developed our own schemes of work and integrated every topic across the various skills that we want our students to have. That means we would integrate it with things like teamwork and collaboration, critical thinking and problem solving, innovation, digital literacy, personal leadership, motivation, empathy, and so on. But like I said, it's experiential, but it's also the way teachers teach that will make students learn these concepts. So we've done a lot of that. And that's because you can do that. Every state can take that curriculum and take it to the next level because it's kind of like they are giving you a framework. It's not...
Cast in stone.
No, it's not cast in stone.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I wanted to go to infrastructural improvement, but since Mariah's question, my question would be, would it work if one state had a curriculum just for its state, just for the children from its state, especially as children eventually write the same exams, common entrances, WAEC, NECO? What would be best?
Curriculum is very different from school. What you do, the curriculum is kind of like the overall direction.
Okay.
And then you adapt your schemes of work, so you teach what is in that curriculum. But in adapting your schemes of work, and that's what we've done, we've looked at how we teach, how they learn, how we assess that teaching has taken place, the skills that we deliberately and intentionally build in the classroom. And so so it's not that we are very different, because like you said, they have to go for that exam.
Yes.
You cannot, biology is biology, for example.
Exactly.
It's the way you teach biology. English, maybe, it's the way you teach it, really, that we are more concerned with now. Because if you look at Nigeria's curriculum, honestly, and look at curricula of other countries, there is not much difference. It's maybe too much content, like I said, and the way we assess. It's the way we assess that I personally feel is the greatest problem.
Okay.
When you start saying,
The exams.
what is the color of this cup?
Yeah.
Draw an insect.
Let me just go back to my original question. So we had the president talk about why we have issues in Nigeria. He talked about infrastructure. He talked about no proper schools. He admitted, yes, we don't have proper infrastructure. The schools are run down mostly. And I know that Lagos State, based on the ECO-Excel, we hear the governor talk about it. We have a few people who have come here to talk about, how schools have been improved, the facilities have been improved. So I'm wondering, what are the things that Lagos State put in place so that maybe other states are watching? Where did they learn to do what they have done to improve the facilities? What are those things that they have put in place? And what can other states learn from what Lagos State is doing?
Let me address your first
help.
That was a long question.
Yeah, so and also probably help our president to say these are the things we're doing right.
Where did we learn it? I guess it's from experience and people in the ministry and those of us running education in the country, and of course our Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, all of us wanting something better for every child in the state. So I guess we learned it. It's not learning, it's a desire. And so starting from that desire now, what we've tried to do and what we've done is that every year put aside a sum for education, for infrastructure. Let's look, what do we want our schools to look like? And then we have started investing. Sometimes I'm a bit downcast, I won't lie to you. Because it looks like the more you do, the less it looks like you're doing anything, and the more it looks like you have to do a lot more. But I think that was number one. Address the schools. What should they look like? What should a typical classroom be like? What resources do you want to put in a classroom? How do you want the children to learn? So it's a lot of brainstorming, thinking, consulting, getting the counsel of, no, you can't do anything without that. First of all, there must be political will and then top level.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up more on infrastructure. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo. We're talking about infrastructure for the break, and I want you to be more specific. I don't want us to use any big grammar. I want us to be, are we building schools? Are we painting them? Are we building classrooms? Are we putting in furniture? What exactly is infrastructural review? What are you doing exactly in the schools?
All of what you said. So we are trying, for years, we haven't built new schools in Lagos State, especially at secondary level. So we are building new schools.
Okay.
We are supplying infrastructure, tables and chairs into all our schools.
Okay.
We are building fences because many of the schools, especially at primary level, did not have fences. But then that was because in those days, you didn't need a fence in a village school. I mean, it's part of the community. You don't fence it off. But things are happening now that require that we build fences. We are building security apparatus in some of our schools. We are building things like watchtowers and so on in the boarding schools that we have. We are supplying resources for use in the classroom. And I'm excited about a new school concept that we have. We are building a green school. It's still a pilot, so it's in only one school.
Okay.
So it's made of containers. Of course, we stripped off all the excess things that will make it hot. And we put, what do you call it, on top. So that solar. So it's solar powered. No NEPA for the buildings at all. And then, so there are classrooms, there are labs in that building. And we want to see what it looks like. Eco-sustainability is
fantastic.
Yeah. That's low maintenance, so that going forward.
Very low maintenance.
Right. Okay. I wanted to talk about your teacher recruitment and training. There was something that was popular then. It was like a motivation for teachers to do well. So we had the awards, we had all of those things that, encourage teachers and, recognize the work that excellent teachers did. How is it now under this administration, under the present governor? And, do you also do the debates that, where what we call the BRF debates then? Do you still do it? Because I don't see that anymore highlighted on television like it used to be.
That's a question with many facets. So I'll start with the teachers. We're doing a fair bit with the recruitment. Let me thank the governor, because we haven't recruited in a while. But we've recruited a new set of teachers. I'm very proud of them. Young, tech-savvy, sharp, excited, well-educated. You have a friend too. And they're going through all sorts of orientation programs that will get them deep into teaching. Because for any teacher, it takes like 3-4 years to settle down into their, into a smooth, can I call it, routine. And after that, they kind of peak around like 10. But you want to keep them at that peak. And so, what do you do to sustain interest? I think for the young ones, training and orientation and so on. For the older ones, we are giving them opportunities with things like competitions, Teacher of the Year competitions and so on. And I think it's doing quite a bit, because Mr. Governor gave out cars recently, and everybody was excited. They didn't believe we would do it. So when we said apply, many didn't. But I think this year we're...
But there's a perception that our teachers are outdated, and there's a perception that these teachers are not qualified. There's a perception that Lagos State or that government schools don't have qualified teachers. Is that true?
No, there is no teacher in the Lagos State public school system that is not qualified. The minimum qualification we have at primary school level is NCE. But at secondary school level, it's a degree. If they don't have a BEd, we would take a PGD. So for the new recruitment of maybe 3,000 teachers, all of them had degrees. So we don't play. The few teachers who might not have are teachers who are teaching very technical subjects like IRK, where they have to be scholars. So their own qualification is the qualification for people who are going to teach that particular subject. So we don't play with that.
Okay, so would you say in Lagos State you have no teacher apathy? Because that's one of the things our president also highlighted. Many people would rather go into other sectors of the economy, banking, contracts, but we don't have enough teachers. Would you say in Lagos State you don't have that problem?
Of course we do. I think over the years, teaching has lost its luster as a profession of choice for a young person. And that's, of course, for many reasons. But it's not in Lagos State because of salary. Because if you're an engineer, if you're a lawyer, if you're a teacher, you come in at level 8. So it's not as if you are going to get less than a fellow professional. But I guess the movement to the top is slower. So there might be some level of frustration and so on. But I think that is being addressed now, because to make teachers love their jobs is not difficult. Teachers generally love the children, love their jobs. But when apathy sets in, they won't do well. So I think what we're trying to do now is also to rekindle that passion, rekindle that love for the profession, and make the profession one of choice. I will tell you now that when we are recruiting, last time we had 100,000 people applying to be teachers. Throughout the lockdown, the government paid teachers. the government continue to look after them like normal. And I think there is a sense now that it's a stable, good career. And it's not that it hasn't pushed banking off, but it is pushing it off because there are no jobs in banking. How many people are in the banking hall?
With all those targets.
There's nobody in the banking hall anymore.
Presently, there's the TESCOM, that's the secondary school recruitment going on now.
Yeah.
What exactly would make a person look towards applying? If you, aside the stable work, is it something that, you know, is that extra incentive to want to join?
Well, to join TESCOM, we want people who, of course, are qualified. But qualifications are not everything. We don't need experience. We'll train them. Oh, what we need is attitude.
Another year, it's not 25 years experience.
No. With 25 years experience, we won't take such a person, you know, because we are taking in entry level. So it's level 8, level 9. So we are not going to take people who, that's not fair to them anyway. They should be principals or head teachers.
Let me take Bisola. Bisola, are you there? It's been holding for a while.
Good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to contribute to the program. I want to say thank you to the Minister, to the Commissioner of Education.
Yes.
She's really doing well. My friend got employment through Lagos State, and I follow her. They go for training. Yes. And the only problem I have is that this website to log in and apply for a job is trouble. So the government should do something concerning the website and it will be easy. Okay. Like it will be very easy for you to log in because I also tried, but it didn't work out. Like I wake up in the morning, middle of the night to try to get the job into Lagos State. It's not working. I also hear other people. So you have it's a finding line for you to get through.
Thank you, Bisola. That's feedback.
But so they are really trying concerning the employment because I have 3 of my friends that got employed.
Fantastic. So it seems the process is seamless. They didn't have connection, right, Bisola? They were just regular Nigerians.
Improvement to the website.
Okay, she didn't hear me. So I guess that's feedback on the website. We need to make it more.
There's heavy congestion. I told you in 2 weeks we had 100,000 people.
Wow.
So
that could be
it's heavy congestion. But that means that we too need to do a bit more to make it...
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll discuss technology and education. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be...
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still talking education today, and we know that the government have introduced technology at some point because when Osun State introduced Opoimo, you know, there was that worry that children and tablets. But Lagos State came with a different angle of giving the teachers instead of the students. What have you seen as a difference, number one, and what's the role of technology in the educational sector today?
Well, let me say we gave the teachers in primary schools, but we gave students in secondary.
Okay.
So the teachers, the tablets in secondary school, in primary school, to support them with the teaching in the classroom. The schemes of work downloaded, suggestions and so for activities and all. So this was supposed to, the intention was to help them. You know, look, let me tell you the thing about teaching now. What we want to achieve is that every child should have a minimum level. We don't want children, if you are taught by a bad teacher, the impact on you can be tremendous all lifelong. So what we are trying to do is, whether you're a bad teacher or a good teacher, let's have a minimum level beneath which no teacher can go. And so that's why that tablet is there, helping every teacher, giving them ideas and so on in the classroom. And that's in our primary schools. In our secondary schools, we actually give the students something like Opoimo. But in this particular instance, we negotiated because we didn't want the children using it to go online and doing all sorts of things. So what they did was that MTN, one of the telcos gave us free access for 3 years on the tablets. And there's a small aperture. It's not that it's open all the time. You want to upgrade, you want to add material and so on. It's controlled.
Yes, better.
Because so they can't do much with it other than go on, look at their scheme of work, look at lectures by Nigerian teachers, look at possible assessment questions, test themselves, go on and do quizzes.
Okay.
And so that's all.
I didn't call from Magbara. Come to you, Mariam. I didn't get from Magbara. Good morning. Are you there?
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Ogun State.
Yeah, this is my first time of calling.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. My name is Adironke Ejilasisi from Agbara Estate.
Okay.
I want to contribute to the program.
I know.
Morayo, you've been doing well. Greeting Nyma as well, Miriam and every other crew, not there today. And I'm greeting Mrs. Adepisayo.
Okay.
Welcome and thank you for coming to the show.
Okay.
Morayo, you have done well. You've been bringing the right people to the program anyway, and you have done it again today for bringing Mrs. Adepisayo. Like I said, my name is Adironke Ejilasisi from Agbara Estate. So, yes, I thought that she won't fail because I know her very well and I know what she's capable of doing. You know, I don't need to say more than that, you know, because I have my child under her care before at Corona Secondary School and, you know, excellent school, and she did well. Anyway, so don't let us go beyond that. I have 2 questions for her, which has been bothering my mind when I see students on the road. At times around 8:39, you see students going to school, students of public school, but some of them might just hold one exercise book, they roll it in a way and manner that you might be wondering that, do they have more than one note in the school to write with? And more so, they go to school late. These are the children that are supposed to be in school before 8 o'clock. I think assembly begins by 8, latest. But 9 o'clock, still see them walking in 2 and 3s, you know, going to school. What type of disciplinary measures, you know, are the, are the maybe the government or the school, the teachers, what are they doing for children like that?
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, so disciplinary actions.
Well, I've seen that too, and it bothers us a lot. And we are talking to an organization that we want to start going round and sort of asking children why they're not in school.
Yes.
I worked for some time in Osun State, and they had such an organization. It was very, very effective because by about 8:30, you don't see any child on the street because the child knows that the task force is coming. And so I think we have to get into that. And then for each school individually to discipline the children. I think this is one other thing that we also need to get into. I can't start telling you lies and say, no, I'm into that. But we are certainly into it, and we will solve that problem. That is what I'm sure of.
Okay, ma'am. So, you know, we've heard about these tabs. They seem to be magic tabs because we hear that the teachers that have it, you can tell when they're in class, what they're teaching, sometimes the battery level on the tabs itself, when you call them, magical. So in what ways can we say it has impacted the students? I mean, not just in numbers, but like the impact in students. What can we see differently since the teachers had these tabs?
Well, first of all, the teachers are in class. For a teacher to be absent in class will be quite tough because it's georeferenced, so we know the teacher is in class. And because we can track what the teacher is teaching, we know whether that class is going well or not. If the class isn't going, if it's a general thing like that, 4 of us are here, and we see that, and we're using the tab, and we see that all of us are struggling, it's possible for the back-end operations to see. And then that will inform them and improve on the schemes of work, on the content going forward. They'll investigate, ask us why. So you can see that there's continuous improvement. That's number 1. And number 2 is the fact that if you go to class, it's not about the tablet. The tablet is there. But what I love most is the new culture of the classroom. It's very engaging, very lively. If you go to class and you talk to the children are lively. They're enjoying themselves. They are working in teams and groups. They are discussing together. Did you discuss when you were in primary school? It was cheating now.
That's how we sleep.
And I saw you sleep. You know, now they come together in groups. They discuss. They present to their teachers. So we are deliberate. That's why I said you teach skills. You don't need to teach skills. I said, good morning. Today we are doing public speaking. All these are teaching them assertiveness, motivation, empathy, how to speak in public, you know, all sorts of, you are teaching a plethora of skills.
Let me take this call when I come to you, Shola, are you there? Yes, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning to everyone. And good morning to the Honorable Commissioner of Lagos State.
All right.
Madam, good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yeah, please, I have just a question for the Honorable Commissioner. Number 1 is land that most of the time the cutoff mark in JAM, some of the students score lower than the cutoff mark. Maybe some wants to go to medicine, accounting, banking. Then when they have the lowest mark, they give them educational thing as an alternative. So what are they doing about that? Number two is the Honorable Commissioner said about 100,000 people applied for the job in 2 weeks. Now, what are you doing about the compassion they actually ask for the job? Because we find out that many people are looking for the future, and they know that there is future in government work. And some of them actually wanted to work because of their future. What is the compassion? How are you checking the compassion they actually have for the job, not because of their future?
All right. Thank you, Shola. Those are 2 questions.
I don't really understand the second question, but is it about what?
The passion. Do they really have the passion for the job? So you have to apply, but how do you gauge or how do you detect if they're actually passionate and compassionate about that job?
The interview process is quite exacting because they'll go through a written essay where they'll talk about their own feelings, about why they're teachers, why they want to be teachers, what they hope to achieve as teachers. So we have various questions. So once you answer that, you can tell a lot about that person. And then there's the oral interview, and then there's the classroom part of it as well. So it's a 3-pronged approach. It's not. So from there, you'll get good teachers. Okay. We've gotten some really good teachers. I'm very proud of them.
The first part of his question, do you recall?
Now, the first part was about JAM. Yes. That low-scoring students go into education. Well, for now, you can't force people to do what they don't want to do. Like I said, education was not a profession of choice for a young person. But what we have to do now, what we're trying to do in Lagos State, is to change that narrative and get people to be interested in education. Get young people to want to be teachers because of the way we treat teachers, because of the fact that they have a career path. For instance, in Lagos State, this is one state where a teacher can come in and become a permanent secretary. We have 6 permanent secretaries in the Ministry of Education who were former teachers and principals. And so you know that when you come in, you have a career path. You are going to come in at the same level as your colleagues who went to university. Now you start to climb up.
Because of time, let me just quickly take Olaolu and come to Nyma. Olaolu, are you there?
Good morning.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
My name is Olaolu from Ekpe. I welcome the Honorable Commissioner of Education. I've been teaching for some time now, and I would like to add something. You know, sometimes the Honorable Commissioner was talking about the quality of teachers that have been employed into Lagos State. I remember the last employment I was in. I remember there was a woman that was teaching a child lesson, and eventually that woman got employed. You know, it's not about the quality of the quality. That can I tell you, how can I call it now? They call it as the quality of the person that was employed. This woman cannot teach a child, but this woman was employed to go and teach a secondary school, and her child was, I think, probably 4 or 5 or so. You know, one thing I notice about Lagos State education or Lagos State employment is that you are not employing the right hand. You are employing set of people that are introduced by politicians. You know, politicians, you know, connection here, connection there. Yeah. They are not people that eventually supposed to be in school.
Okay, I think I get the question. Olaolu, let me just, because we have very little time. So there, according to Olaolu, there are people who are getting into that teaching scheme that are not qualified. They're coming through politicians, connections.
There's no way we will take a teacher without a degree. So if it's qualifications, that's totally out of it. No matter who you are close to or who you know, we would never take someone who does not have a degree in education. You can't come with BSc biology. We won't take you. Okay. No, you come with BSc biology, you have a PhD.
But if you have connection with the politician, can you still find a way to wiggle your way in?
No. If you don't have a degree, absolutely not. It's impossible. The thing is, there's no way we won't go through a lot of political pressure. But one thing we were adamant about is, whoever it is, the person must have the necessary qualifications. The person must do well in our test. And that we never played with, no matter who it is. And a lot of people saw that, and they left us after a while. In fact, people are very cross, many, many people, and that's okay. We'll live with that.
Yeah.
But we just tried as much. We had 100,000 people apply, and we were going to take 2,000. That was tough.
That must have been.
So we broke the hearts of 98,000 people.
Yeah. So the past 1 year has forced us to focus on technology in teaching.
Yeah.
And I saw what Lagos State did with the Wazobia TV partnership to educate students. What part of those things are you still holding on to? What part of technology in teaching or distant learning, reaching more children, are you still holding on to from the experience?
We haven't stopped. We stopped 1 or 2 of the radio stations because they gave us free during the lockdown. And obviously, you have to make money, isn't it? You two break here for adverts. So they couldn't keep doing that. So we have to say thank you to them. They did this for months on end, every day free of charge. And so we had to stop those ones. But the ones that we normally pay for, that we have relationship like Lagos TV, and so we continue doing them. And we also, of course, the tablets are there. We gave it to the children. We still use them. And
do you do some online classes, maybe extramural classes now? Do they continue online?
Yeah, there's online. You see, that online is more self-tutoring, where you go onto your tablet and you study by yourself.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of that.
I just wanted to find out if Lagos State is also looking at vocational schools. A technical school where children will learn skills. You know, you mentioned a lot about having more content and less skills.
Thank you again for that. Well, thank you for all your questions. You've made me think a lot. Vocational schools are essential because what we are doing, it's like a funnel. It was described as a funnel by Dr. Obi Ezekwesili some years ago, about how many children enter and how many leave with something reasonable. So it's clear that we have to provide options for every child, and not behave as if going to university is sacrosanct. You don't have to go to have a good living, to have a good job. And so what we are planning to do is to exercise the possibility of options for our students. We've done some things. We do have technical colleges. We have 5, not enough at all. So now we are developing what we call monotechnics. Those ones would be like focused on one skill, maybe fashion design school, computer school, construction school across the state. Because building these big vocational schools is expensive. You need a lot of land, you need a lot of teachers. But if we're able to, computer school, be able to take somewhere like Onike, put a school there, computer school, you don't need a lot of land, but you can get a lot of students and you will change a lot of lives.
Yes.
So those are some of the strategies that we have. And also within our existing schools, we are looking at the possibility that if a child just doesn't have the aptitude for physics, chemistry, biology, and so on, as we're doing it now, then let us provide options for that child within the school and give them opportunities to do other things. Like, we went to Badagry. Badagry, it doesn't make sense for someone to be a fisherman in Badagry. It makes a lot of sense, but you can't. What we want is a fisherman who will be able to brand himself on Instagram.
Yeah.
A fisherman who will be able to take the fish, smoke it, package it beautifully, sell it, and them the way
Let me sure I understand you. Yeah. So if I'm a child in Badagry, for example, where my entire community are fishermen, and I go to school and I'm in GSS 1, GSS 2, and I realize that this thing is getting hard, I'm struggling. Usually the automatic thing for me to do is drop out.
Yeah.
What you're saying is that don't drop out. I'll take you to a fishery school somewhat, where you can now learn the skills and become a fantastic fisherman, so that if you become like a father as a fisherman, you can also
you take your father's profession to the next level, modernize it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what.
It's
a dream. But we are working on it.
Okay, I'm glad. I was going to talk to you about public partners if you are working with the private sector, but I have a call. Prophet, good morning. Are you there, Prophet?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, sir.
I'm a good fan of your view.
Thank you, sir.
I follow your program for 3 years now.
Thank you very much, sir.
But unfortunately, I got you yesterday, and today I'm so lucky.
All right, sir. Thank you. Welcome to the show. You have 10 seconds.
Want to contribute. I really want to contribute to the education level in Lagos State.
Yes.
Because they are doing so well. And Murayo and Nyma, you people are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Just keep it on.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, God will bless you.
Thank you very much.
And God will continue to increase your knowledge.
All right,
my contribution to the Minister, Honorable Minister, Commissioner for Education is, what are they doing to correct the people selling around the public school and people smoking? Some young child smoking around the public school. And the people going to school, they are seeing them as an example. What's the education level? What are they doing to correct that witchcraft?
Thank you very much, Professor Kennedy. That's a fantastic question. Honorable Commissioner, would like to
that's a very important question, because it's bringing down discipline in our schools because of all these places of ill repute, so to speak, surrounding schools. And we are in talks with the security forces as well as our Ministry of, our security forces to see the legal way by which we can clear schools and just leave them, where they are without the incursion of all sorts of people. It's not as easy as you think.
It's going to be tough in
because there's the legal side of it all. If somebody builds his house opposite a school,
All right, we have to wrap up, but thank you very much, madam. I think you're able to shed some light on what Lagos State government is doing. We'll continue to bring you back once in a while just to give us an update. We're going to take you up on the vocational school.
Yes,
we're really interested because that's something that's really important. You said that funnel. We've taken in 100,000 children in school. We want at least 80% of that to come out with something. So we'll take you up on that in the coming months.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go on the break. When we come back, we go to our gist for the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we saw this story that caught our attention. How long does it take a widow to move on? Or how long should it take a widow to move on? We get these stories a lot, and we just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. You can call us on 081, on the numbers on the screen, 081 39076 also 081 270 53687. You can also send us messages on YouTube and on Facebook. We'd like to read your messages. So we saw this message, and it was really interesting because when a man loses his wife, usually within 6 months, 1 year.
6 months.
We see a lot of these people that they're ready to move on, and you just want to be, sorry, this one not just lose. No, it can't be 3 days. 3 days is too much.
I'm not joking.
You have it 3 days.
You know someone 3 days.
So the point is that we see that men find it easy to move on. Women, usually in the past, never move on. Sometimes they never move on.
Yes.
But these days, women are dusting it off so quickly and saying, you know what, I'm moving on. Is this appropriate? Is it right? Are things changing such that we don't even respect the dead anymore?
No, let me put it well. So, society allows a man move on when he's ready. So some people will mumble and say, that man now, actually if she leaves children, he needs help with the children. So he can bring his side chick as a legitimate upgrader because the wife passed. And people will say, they only mumble. Some people will even just mumble because, she was the side chick. Maybe she had something in her hand in her death and all of those things. But after a while, everybody shuts up. But if a woman were to move on, just like that, okay, Islamically, you're supposed to move on after 4 months and 10 days. Even at that, people will start to say, she's not grieving again. She's not focusing on her children. She's not this and that. The society talks around the woman so much, and I don't think it is fair. I think the requirement in Islam is to settle any baggage. So she might be pregnant, it maybe didn't show, and if she moves on faster, will now be doing paternity and custody issues.
So let me tell you, in Islam, if the woman was not pregnant, doesn't have children, she can move on almost immediately.
No, it's 4 months and 10 days that you're supposed to mourn. And the major rationale is so that we settle any baggage that might be existing.
Right.
So if she's pregnant, it will show, it will be established and all of that. So paternity and all of those issues don't come up. We're clear as to where the child belongs. And all of those things. And then you grieve, and there's this solitude period as well. So all of those things go. But as soon as you're completing that period and you are clear there are no baggages, nothing, you are moving on when you want to move on. Some women stay in marriages where they're not happy. Some stay in marriages where they've been abused and they're just, some of them consider the death of their partner's luck. That, I finally bomb her. And then you now put the pressure on the woman on how she wants to move on.
But there's a part of our culture that makes it say it's honorable for a woman to just stay with your children. It's a honorable thing to do that.
No, it's not
After my
honorable.
husband died, I did not move on. It's just me, my children and my husband.
It's the woman who will be loud in it.
That's a very sad, honorable thing, especially when it is not the same for the man. A woman, I think, should move on when she's finally able to move on, when she has finally come to terms with, okay, this is, I'm now by myself, or I need a companion. But you know what I find is that to move on will mean to start to date. People don't like to see widows dating. How are you now seeing different? Look at her, you know, they look at you like the person has now become a promiscuous person. But you need to date to finally move on to someone. So that's what I find people find it difficult to see a woman do. And I also think, because I hear this, I have a friend who's a widow, where also there's a discrimination from being a widow, and also there's an expectancy, like men even just expect that you would be available all of a sudden because you're a widow. I feel it's hard for a woman, especially young widows in Nigeria, because of all that society has just placed that should be what they should go through. Really, society has to think differently. There has to be a change of mindset, and the change of mindset will even come from people themselves. You determine when you can move on. Move on to someone that loves you, that cares for you, and maybe cares for the children that you have. And it's okay to date after your husband has passed.
Okay, I'll come to
the
the
way
dating.
it's okay for the man to date when the woman has passed.
I'll come to dating. We'll take that in a minute. But the reason why some women choose not to date is because they don't want anybody to say they killed their husband. You know, there's that perception of, yeah, did you kill your husband? For you to automatically want to move. That's another thing. You want to hold your honor that I have no hands in his death. That's one. Number two, if you do agree that they should date, what effects would your dating have on your children? Because the idea of them seeing different men coming in and out, wouldn't that have the psychological effect on your child? So these are some of the factors people consider, our elders consider. Say, you know what, as a widow, just stay where you are, raise your children, and so that at least tomorrow your children will be honorable citizens that you are proud of, that they didn't have to go through all these complicated situations.
There's a way that women date, women that have children. Most times I hear that the man does not get to meet the children or come to the house until you are sure that this is a serious thing, because you don't want these children seeing different people at different times. And I understand that logic, you know. Children tend to quickly latch onto someone, especially if you don't have a father, you're looking for a father figure. And usually the first few months of dating life, you know, it's so beautiful. Yeah. The man is doing different things, buying flowers or taking you out. And then when the thing progresses or the man loses interest, the children are heartbroken all over again. Yeah. So the mother is usually, I don't want to put these children through that. Yeah. So that's how they would do it. But I find that men don't do that. When they are dating and they have children, they would date with the person, the children will meet the new person, and they ask, is this the new mommy? And then tomorrow they don't see this mommy, the next one. So this conversation should really be for everyone, that even when the men date in such a way that you are, yes, discreetly, that you are aware of the emotional state of the children. But it is okay to date. You know what we need to, I like the way that Nyma gave us a 4-month specific time.
In Islam?
Yes, in Islam, you get the 4 months, 10 days. I think some other cultures, they put a year. I know in the East, they say they usually give them a year before they can go. But if a woman is ready by 6 months, I think it's fine.
Nyma.
I think the effect of dating on your children is personal. So it depends on your relationship with them. But for your children not to accept, because some people, they do marital fights on behalf of their choice parents. So if it's your dad, it's your mom, it's your money, you're not judging your mother. The child will be fighting their mother, or, you know, have family members coming through them to talk to their mother. If your relationship with your child is good and is safe and you think it is time, you can have that conversation that I'm only trying to move on. These are conversations people scare. Well, I was free to have such conversations, but I see people not ready. It is enough. This is not about women or men. When a person is irresponsible as to their relationship with their child, man or woman, you might date and not care how it affects your child, girl or boy or man or woman, whichever side you are. So it just means that if you're a widow or widower, whoever you are, be concerned about the well-being, because you know as you're grieving and trying to move on, your child is also in that space where they're having
where do we
to find
put the
closure.
place of sacrifice? Because, you know, there's always, there's this honor that you sacrificed everything for your children's happiness. Hang in there. Where there's that part of, okay, I would love to date. I would love to marry again and, you know, have all the nice things of a marriage. But because I am a woman who is sacrificial in my thinking, I'm putting my children first. So I don't want any man coming there and start showing his face. I want to be there for my children. There's that perspective.
Let me clear that honor that you're talking about. So your fear is that I move on and end up with a partner who's not caring for my child. Not that I'm moving on. I want to be seen by society as being... See, madam, you're human. You have your nature, your natural things that you need. And sex is an important part of life.
But I choose to sacrifice it.
No. Because you're sacrificing.
But I can choose to sacrifice.
No, you can choose to be clear what you're sacrificing for.
Okay.
So it's not, you're not going to be honorable by showing your child that I'm made of stone or I owe body. You're holding your body, sacrificing those needs that you have, because you don't think the partners that you have found are competent enough for your child. They are two different things. Right. So even though you want to have that done, your child is paramount to you. Yeah. You owe your late spouse that child's well-being, and you're doing that for that. Not that you are made of stone. Because your child will grow up and they would move on, and then you still have that need unmet, and you maybe become even a bad person because you've not been able to deal with. So if you're clear as to your emotions and all the issues, maybe you'll be a better person at the end of it.
I don't know any human person that would just sacrifice that side and say, I've locked it up. If you're a young widow, 25, we have widows 24, 25, 26, blood is boiling. Yes. You know, for me, the sacrifice would be, I would not make it, I would do it so discreetly that my children are unaware. Because sometimes all you really want to do is just have that physical part. You're not even ready for a companion. You're not ready to replace the man. You're not ready to go into any serious commitment. But you want someone to warm your bed. Yeah. So that would happen, but that will happen discreetly because of the children, because you're not going to, the child does not understand the different nuances and the different complexities of that sort of relationship. But to sacrifice, some people have decided to sacrifice the fact that they will never get married again for the children. Right. I've seen that where maybe, as you said, they've dated a few people and they don't think that anyone can actually take the place. Or sometimes you just understand the mindset of your children or their emotional state, and you think that bringing in a man now or for as long as it takes, it will destabilize them.
I like what Nyma had said earlier, because you must be clear of what your reasons are. You see, not because of society. It shouldn't be because of society. It should be, okay, I am choosing because I know that these my children, they need a father figure or they need a mother figure. Let me take this call from Yinka. Yinka, are you there?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, I'm here.
Good morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good morning.
Morning.
Hello?
You're absolutely live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good morning, Morayo. Good morning, Nyma. Good morning, Marian.
Good morning.
Okay, I can hear you, and I would just want to appreciate the topic. Hello, can you hear me?
Very clearly, madam.
Okay. Okay, I think I appreciate what Nyma just explained to us as regards to Islam, the Islamic perspective of the whole thing. But in all, I feel it's just a man's world. And I just think, looking at everything, for someone who has just lost a loved one, the person should just be allowed to grieve at a convenient time, when it's so convenient for the person to find closure and eventually move on. And when the person is ready to move on, so far he or she is able to find a partner who can carry the children along, the society should just let them be. They should just pray along with them and give them all support that is needed. No one should probably stigmatize or look down on anyone dating. And like the area of children having to notice the different state partners, like you said, it's just good to be discreet about it.
Thank you very much, Yinka.
That is enough punishment for us to add our own. You understand? The person has already lost a loved one, most times loved ones, and they're already grieving. For you to not add extra burden of judging, determining things.
Nyma, there's a part of, yes, you want to move on, But the possibility that this person you're moving on to might break your heart, or it's not. You see, there's always that. I don't want to be a woman that is used and overused and overused and overused. I want to be sure, but there's no guarantee that this man I am remarrying is going to be there forever. So should we therefore come to terms with the fact that I'm divorced? There's a possibility that I might go through a few others before I get to the real one, because should that be something we should have to accept? Because the truth is that there's no guarantee that the next person that comes is going to actually stay. Sometimes so it's that effect that people want to avoid. Just say, I'll just keep it to myself.
Yeah, but by God's grace, you're an adult by the time you even get married the first time, and you're now a widow, and you understand that it's life. Sometimes some people get married the second time and get a better partner. So it's just life. But the truth is, it cannot be about other people. It has to be about you. You need to know what you want. And you can decide for yourself if you want to continue to be in another marriage or have another partner. You know, one of the things I think maybe we should also talk about is the relationship that comes from a widow marrying someone who already has another family. You know, that integration with their children. For me, I think those are the things that maybe many people also think about. Like, if I now marry someone who already has children, how will my children feel? We've seen widows where they've moved on to marry someone else and had to keep their children away. So I think those are the things that widows in Nigeria struggle with.
My experience is even the fear of how a young widow think her spouse or his family would accept her. Yeah. So there's this stigma we put around them if you're a young widow and think maybe it's her destiny. Some people will say maybe in the Western cultures, there's this tradition of maybe it has to be 7 husbands before one husband would leave. So there's this continuous stigma or superstitions that we've created around being a young widow in the West that I hated when I was growing up. And now that I have a cousin who turned out a young widow within a year, fortunately she had a child, her spouse passed, she's just locked up. You know, it's not even a topic you can approach. And I feel that those are the fears and superstitions. And I think I would love to see my cousin move on. She's beautiful, extremely intelligent. She's an A-list. She killed it in her set, best graduating student, everything. Wow. She just locked up. This is a potential. Wow. You know, I don't
locked
like
up because she's grieving, or she's locked up because people...
she's grieving.
Yeah,
but then I think there's also that fear of superstition around her, and she's just, you know, just living alone.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up on this conversation, but I think we're just starting this conversation because there are lots of young widows out there that want to move on, but society is not allowing them to move on. And that's why we need to have this conversation to see, let's bring this conversation to the table so that young widows especially, they want a second chance. And even if that second chance doesn't come through, if it's a third or fourth chance, allow them. They're adults. They're
even if you're a young man,
the second chance is not a marriage. Exactly. Please, you would like to see on their faces the smile again. You would like to see them happy again. And if that involves having a companion, why would you want to deny anyone that?
So on that note, we wrap up. But thank you, ladies, for that conversation. But we're going to continue this. That's all we can take on the show today. I hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye for now.